It's the Sunday Pilot here on Sim Sunday with another port over video from the main channel. This time we're flying the Aer Lingus Airbus A330-300 from Aerosoft from Los Angeles, LAX, across the country and then the Atlantic to Dublin, the capital of Ireland. This video is of course number 3 out of 7 on my wide body twin series. I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to another Sim Sunday here on Living the Dream, and this is episode number 3 of 7 in my wide body series. And today, or should I say tonight, in Sim time, we're in Aerosoft's Airbus A330-300. And as you can see, I'm preparing a night flight from here in Los Angeles, LAX, across to Dublin, EIDW. And of course, we're flying in Aer Lingus livery. But not just any Aer Lingus livery, the brand new Aer Lingus livery, which I think looks absolutely gorgeous. I think Aer Lingus started releasing this new livery in late 2018 or early 2019, or was it late 2019, early 2020? I've got no idea. And it probably looks quite similar to a lot of other liveries or modern liveries and aircraft, but I have to admit, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Anyway, you'll see a lot more of this livery as nighttime turns into daytime, somewhere between northern Canada and Greenland. Anyway, back to my flight this evening, and as you can see, I'm in SynBrief programming the flight from LAX across to Dublin. It looks like it's going to take about 10 hours. Of course, that's not in sim time. In these longer flights, I tend to run at around about 4 times speed, and then once I'm up into the cruise and crossing the Atlantic, I tend to run at about 8 times speed in the sim, which means I'll complete this flight in a little over 2 hours in real time. Back in the cockpit, it is time to load the flight plan into Prepared 3D. I'm using version 4.5, but you already knew that. And then I'm going to load the flight plan into the FMC, including the load on tonight's flight across the US, Canada, and then the Atlantic before arriving tomorrow afternoon around 2 p.m. into Dublin. And Dublin, of course, is where I began my love of aviation back in the very early 70s. My mother tells the story of taking me as a young child at either 2 years old or 3 years old to see the landing of the delivery flight of Aer Lingus' first Boeing 747, as I said, on a delivery flight in from Seattle. I don't really remember that day, but my first memory of flying, of course, would have been on Aer Lingus between Dublin and Glasgow on their early BAC 111s. Of course, Aer Lingus has come a long way since the early 70s. Their fleet is made up of nearly 100% Airbus with 320s, 321s, and of course the A330-200 and 300, the variant we're flying virtually tonight across to Dublin. They also have 1 or 2 757-200s, which they use on some of their Dublin to East Coast cities in the US. And in fact, the last long-haul flight I did with Aer Lingus was in an Airbus A330 from San Francisco back to Dublin 3 years ago. So that was, I think, September 2017. I haven't lived in Ireland in over 20 years, but I must admit I really enjoyed the flight on board Aer Lingus out to San Francisco and back from San Francisco back in 2017.
Los Angeles clearance delivery, Shamrock, board 5, this type Airbus, IFR to Dublin, ready to copy. Shamrock, board 5, is cleared to Dublin, airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude, 11,000. Departure frequency is 121.3, squawk 027 Shamrock, board 5, cleared to Dublin, airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude, 11,000. Departure on 121.3, squawk 027 Shamrock, board 5, correct. Contact ground on 121.65.
Coming back to the virtual world, this Aerosoft Airbus A330 is probably my least favourite wide-body twin in my arsenal of aircraft for Prepared 3D version 4. I find this particular model extremely resource hungry, and remember guys, I'm using an Intel i9 with a 2080 Ti graphics card and 64 gigabytes of RAM, with my Prepared 3D installed on its very own 1TB SSD. Yet still, I was unable to open this aircraft at San Francisco, which was my preferred flight this evening. My Flightbeam Studios SFO is already an extremely resource hungry piece of scenery. Add the Aerosoft Airbus A330 to it, and things simply just kept going wrong. And that's why I'm now flying the Aerosoft Airbus A330-300 of Aer Lingus from LAX to Dublin instead of San Francisco to Dublin.
Los Angeles ground, southwest 6464 with information, Kilo, request taxi IFR. Southwest 6464, taxi holding point for runway 6, right, via taxiway Delta 7, Echo 16, contact tower 120.905 when ready.
And of course, as you can hear, I'm still using the beta version of Ultima Traffic Live version 2. However, after this flight, I uninstalled it and went back to version 1 because I was simply lacking any decent amount of traffic in this new beta version.
Los Angeles, Red 6, contact tower 120.905.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback. Locking gear.
Information 1224.
Departure check completed. Bypass bin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Pushing back, I realised I'd made a number of mistakes. First, I told GSX to push the aircraft back, pointing in an easterly direction when I really should have said north. And in a minute, ATC will give me instructions to taxi to runway 6 right, but I sadly had chosen 7 left, so it was quite a bit of a longer taxi for me across LAX to runway 07 left, which was the runway I'd chosen to depart on this afternoon. I'd programmed it into the FMC and I wasn't going back at this stage.
Set parking brakes.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass bin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
I know, guys, I shouldn't be blinding the poor ground handler. But hey ho, it'll soon be time to taxi. It'll be a left turn and another left turn heading backtracking 180 degrees from my current direction, and then across the airport to runway 07 left here at LAX. I'm not going to bore you with this taxi, and in a minute I'll take you straight to runway 07 left, ahead of our departure over LA towards Dublin.
Taxi holding point for runway 7 left, via taxiway Delta Romeo Charlie uniform. Contact tower 120.905 when ready. Los Angeles Tower, Shamrock, board 5 at runway 7 left, ready for departure, IFR, Dublin.
Approaching 07 left. On runway 07 left. On runway 07 left. On runway 07 left.
To be honest guys, there's not a lot else to show you on this departure out of LAX. Needless to say, we climbed in a northeasterly direction to flight level 350, 35,000 feet, and that's where we would remain for the duration of the flight across to Dublin. So I'll stop the video in a few minutes and we can pick it back up again during sunrise, which will be somewhere to the east of Gander in Newfoundland.
Cameron 45, please expedite your climb to flight level 350. Cameron 45, please expedite your climb to flight level 350. 5 United 20035.
I have some drink for you, Captain. Here you are.
400, close, turn right, heading 245, proceed on course.
At 35,000 feet, just off the west coast of Ireland, and Shannon, which I'd programmed as my alternate for this particular flight across from Los Angeles to Dublin. With the top of descent coming into view, it's time to plan our approach into Dublin this afternoon, and it looks like it's going to be runway 28, which is what I would have expected, with the prevailing winds being from the southwest. And well into our descent just to the north of Dublin, it's time to turn the lights on and of course the fast seatbelt signs.
Right heading 160.
Approaching. 28.
$500. $400. $100 above. $300. Minimum. $200. $100. $50, $40, $30, $20. Retard.
Shamrock 45, contact ground on 121.8. Over 2121.8, Shamrock 45.5.
It's at this point that you notice that Dublin Airport is way too quiet for just after 2 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon. And this is why after this flight I uninstalled Ultimate Traffic 2, or the beta version of Ultimate Traffic 2. I went back to Ultimate Traffic 1 in the next flight. However, I'm really looking forward to the final release of Ultimate Traffic 2 because the user interface, the configuration and the ability to tweak the software to meet my exact needs is so much better than Ultimate Traffic 1. And that's it, guys, another flight over. And as I've said many times before, and I'll probably say many times again, these videos are not designed to be tutorials. There are enough fantastic tutorials on YouTube. All my videos are designed to do is give you an idea what is possible with a half decent PC and a copy of prepared 3D with, of course, some decent scenery and these fantastic wide-body twin aircraft. This one being, of course, from Aerosoft. Just before I reach the gate, all that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching another one of my Sim Sundays here on Liv'n the Dream.